Today's daf is daf Pei Zayin Amud Aleph. So the Mishnah told us that he basically put a clause in that he will not make her make any vows. Therefore, he cannot make her swear. But he can make, if she dies, he can make her heirs swear, or if she unsold or something, he can make them swear about whether she received any money yet or not. If he says that myself that I will not make you swear, your children swear, your heirs swear, or your people who buy from you, then he can't make them swear. And if he says that, but his own children can. But if he says that myself, my children, and anybody who gets benefits from me, if I sell something, cannot make yourself or your heirs, then obviously he can't make any sure one way or another. And the last part of the Mishnah was if she, after she buried her husband, she moved on to her own family or went back to the house, and she did not become an overseer of the estate, then they cannot make her swear. But if she did become an overseer of the state, they can make her swear not about the past, but about the future. Make sure that you're not pocketing any money on your own. So the Gemara wants to know, Shavua Maya Vidate. We're saying over here that it seems from here that every woman might be obligated to make a vow to their husband, and the husband says, "Don't worry, I'm pardoning you." What vow are we talking about? That if he didn't exempt her, he can make her swear. So we have in the Gemara two opinions. I'm going to read them out. If she became an administrator of the estate, if she became administrator while the husband was alive, and let's say he put her to run the store, and so on and so forth, he can make her swear, make sure she doesn't deposit any money. But that's, but according to him, only in that case. But not in the case of Pegemes Kesuvos, which is where she says, yes, you paid me some of the money of my ksuva. And he claimed that he paid the whole amount. And the law there is that she has to swear that she only got paid a certain amount. That does not become exempt through the shua, through this tanai that he made. I'm pardoning you from all the shuas. Why? Because he's only exempting her from vows that he is imposing on her, not from vows that she caused herself. By her admitting that a part of the ksuva was paid warrants a shua. So it's her admission that warrants a shua. He never pardoned her from that.
Is that any different from the normal case of Moed B'Mitzvah Chad B'Shua?
As you'll see in the Gemara soon, very different. We'll see on the base. Says the Gemara, however, I'm not going to al hapegemes ksuvos, even in a case where she is the one that triggers this shvua. If the husband says, "I exempt you from a shvua," he's exempt from that as well. So right now, our understanding is that Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Nachman are arguing. Says the Gemara, he repeated over this whole Gemara to Rav Ashi many generations later, and he said, "Bishleime." So what does the Mishnah say? That that she sort of asked the husband, "Please pardon me from all the shuls before we had to get married." Now let's think a second. Why is she anticipating these shuls? So the one that says that she wants him to pardon her from a shvur to do with the ksuvah, if she takes a part payment, the maskadaita, she understands that it could be in life. I might need money myself, something that my husband is not obligated to give me, doesn't have to give me, but I need money urgently. So I want to have the right to be able to take some, get in advance. Some advances on my ksuva, but I don't want to swear. So therefore, she anticipates that, and that's why she says to the husband, "I want you to promise me you're not going to make me swear." Fine. You should kill them. I want to take my ksuva. Therefore, she says to him, "Write to me that you're not going to make me swear." That makes sense. Rabbi Yehuda said, we're talking about if she becomes eventually administrator over his business, she doesn't want to swear. Why would she do that at the time of marriage? How does she know at the time of marriage that that's what's going to happen? Why would you anticipate that? Generally, the husband has a business, he'll run it himself. Did she know did she already know then that he's going to make me administrator? That she says to him, write to me that you're not going to make me swear. We're talking about the time of marriage. The chances of that happening are very slim. Amalei, he said, then you totally misunderstood what Rabbi Yehuda was saying. You assumed Rabbi Yehuda was talking about the beginning of the Mishnah, why the husband made this, pardoned her from ever making shuas. You misunderstood. Amalei, you learned it on this. We, however, learned it on the very end of the Mishnah. What's the very end of the Mishnah? No, Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Nachman are not talking about the same issue. Rabbi Nachman was talking about the beginning of the Mishnah and actually what she asking him to do to pardon her from any shuas that she anticipates, which is Pagemas Ksub. And surely she's exempt from other shuas as well. But what do you call it? What Rabbi Yehuda was talking about was totally different. And what was he talking about? The very last part of the Mishnah. Somebody can mute themselves. She left, we're in that page, I am about 10 lines on top of the page. She went from.
Sorry, what page are we on?
Somebody please help.
87A1, the right-hand column.
Go ahead.
Okay. She left the cemetery, went back to her family. She went back to his family. She did not become an administrator over the state. Ein hayoshin mashbina. The Mishnah says the heirs have no right to make a swear. But what do they make a swear about? The im nas is apotrofai. But if she did become administrator, so yoshin mashbina, so they have every right to make a swear. But what? Al ha'osid, only what happens during their time. But they cannot make a swear about events while the husband was alive, because the husband already pardoned her. Now the question is how far back to go. What exactly do we mean sha'avar? When we say you can't drag up the past, what past are we talking about? So this is what Rabbi said, that anything that she did while the husband was alive, they have no right to drag it up because the husband pardoned her. But anything that happened from the moment he passed away and onwards, the entire estate now belongs to the Yisayim. So she's an administrator over the orphan's estate. So since she's an administrator over the Yisayim's estate, they have every right to make her swear that you didn't pocket any money. But once he died, even though he wasn't buried yet, they can make her swear. And this argued with Rav Masna. Rav Masna said, that even between her death and the burial, you cannot make her swear. And why not? Because in the Doi, they said, lekarga, there's certain things, generally when we have to sell somebody's estate, we have to make an auction, make sure we get the best price. We therefore announce it, this becomes available. You have 30 days announcements. We'll learn different Gemaras how this whole thing works. But in the Doi said, when it comes to the following situations, we don't make any announcements. We sell as quickly as possible. And what are they? The karga, to pay off the taxes of the Yisayim to the king, and lemezayna, to feed the wife and the daughters from the estate, and v'lekavura, and to bury the husband himself, or bury any of the orphans. We sell it and we don't make any announcements, we don't make any delays, we sell it straight away. And so by the same token, because we sell it, not through an auction, we just make a quick sale. So too, we won't make her swear, because how is she going to swear? That she didn't devalue it, that she didn't undersell it? She did undersell it, because the whole idea of not having an auction is we just need a quick fire sale. And we know that we're accepting a certain discount, so she cannot swear. So therefore, Ramasna says that period between the kavura and between the misa and the kavura, we're not going to make her swear about how she spent the money, because it's not because you're asking her to swear falsely. You can't do that. Okay. Tracy disagrees, because he says they can still make her swear that she didn't pocket any of the money, not about the actual sale, but what about pocketing money and stealing money? And the reason why they don't make the swear is purely because they want to do it as quickly as possible, and because it covered her mace. And otherwise, she just walk away. She said, "What do I need it for? They're gonna make me swear tomorrow. Well, I'm letting them lie there. We don't want to, because covered her mace. We want to do it as quickly as possible." Says about further. Rabba said in the name of Rabchia the following. We can just talk about different, semantics or words that they use to see how we interpret it. If he said The loy neder or the loy shvur, he says, I'm not going to make you make a neder. I'm not going to vow. I'm not going to make you make an oath. Then who any yochel lashbi? Can I make a swear at all? Havel yoshin mashbi and oisa. His yoshim, his heirs can't make a swear because he just said I won't. But if he said niki neder, you will be cleared from making the durim. Or niki shvur, you'll be cleared from making shvur. Sounds like you'll be totally cleared. Ben who ben yosha, nobody can swear, not even his heirs. Hachi kamla. What he meant to say was menakit mishvasa. You're totally cleared from ever having to make a shvur about affairs, my affairs, myself or my children. However, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yosef said also in the name of Rabbi Chia, so Rabbi Yosef argued me what Rabbi Chia actually said. He said, the loy neder, the loy shvur, who ain't the yochel, but he cannot make a swear. That part I agree with you, but I disagree with you in the next part of an niki neder. In the kishvur, if he says you are cleansed from that shvur, doesn't mean that you don't have to make a neder. It means bein hu bein shem mash bin that everybody can make a swear. Because hachikam, this is what he said to her. Niki nafshech b'shvasa. Cleanse your soul. How do you clear the air? By making a vow. So on the contrary, that kind of expression, the key, what he meant was clean yourself through a shvur. So in other words, you can make a swear. Sholach Rab Zakkai l'Marukva. Rab Zakkai sent to him, continuing on this theme. Rab Zakkai said, "Marukva bein the loy shvur, bein the noki shvur." I don't care if he says the word to her. There's no shvur, or he says you are cleansed from a shvur. Bein the loy neder, bein the noki neder. Whether he said there's no neder, but you're cleansed from a neder. In both cases. For my assets. So he cannot make a swear, but in all those cases, Aval Yoshin must be in Oisa. But if he says my assets, then the Yoshim can make it because it's no longer my assets. When the Yoshim take over, it's their assets, so they can make a swear. But if he says,
But then if they're not going to be his assets, how does he have the ability to make enough swear for the Yoshim? The Yoshim must have the right to say swear.
Because he can only make them. He can only pardon her shvur from the Yoshim if it's about affairs between him and her. Once they take over, they can make a swear for sure about things that happened between her and them. We're talking about things that happened to him and her that not only he won't make them swear. No, let's say the Kesuvos. Not only he won't make her swear, did I not pay you back? The children also can't say to them to her when she comes collecting Kesuvos, oh, maybe our father paid you, swear that he didn't. They can't do that. But regarding their own affairs with her, their own interactions, of course they can make her. Okay, so if he says Nechasai, my assets, he can't make her swear, but the children can. But if he says Minichsaya Ela, from these assets, in other words, I don't care who ends up owning them, my children or myself or Aunt Selit, then she's exempt from everybody. Ben hu ben Yoshev, Emash ben Yoshev can, because it's these assets. The assets themselves cannot warrant a shvur. Ben Ima Miriam. This is not the famous Abba Shol that we learned in Yevamos we had before. This is Abba Shol. We really have nothing from him except this. And Ima Miriam, some say means his mother Miriam. Others say Ima was a title they gave to a very, very eminent woman. Ima Miriam, like Madame, in England, but or France. Must be a story why he goes after his mother's name, but I don't know what it is. And I've looked actually a few places, and I didn't see anybody who normally writes these things who he was, or who is this Ima Miriam, because it's very uncommon to have a name after your mother. Whenever it does, Rashi usually tells us why. The Gemara tells us why. Anyway, Abba Shol ben Ima Miriam. Bain, he said, Bain de loy shvur. Whether you use the word no shvur, Bain de noki shvur, you cleanse from shvur. Bain de loy neder, Bain de noki neder. Bain menichsay, Bain menichsay yoyelam. Whether he says my assets, menichsay or menichsay yoyelam, these assets. Bain hu, Bain Yoshev, ein mash bein oisim. Nobody can make a swear. Whichever expression you use, basically you're saying anything to do with between me and you, nobody can make a swear. Ava my asset, what should I do? When it comes to Yisayimim, if she's coming to collect her ksula, in that case, they cannot make a swear, true. But if she wants to collect her ksula, then there's nothing we can do. The father can make tunayim from today to tomorrow. He cannot override a takan chachamim. So Rebbe Chacham say, Habol lepara menichli Yisayimim. Someone wants to get paid from the assets of an orphan, la yipara el b'shvur, has to make a shvur in order to obtain their payment. The Ikidam and others said exactly the same thing, but it wasn't Rab Nachman, the name of Shmuel, the name of Abba Shol, which means it's a piece of Gemara, but rather Masnita. It's a brisa. And it's the same Abba Shol. He was a Tana, but this is now recorded as a brisa, which gives it much more weight. Abba Shol ben even Miri Amar bein the loy shvur. Whether you use the word no shvur, bein the noki shvur, cleansing shvur, bein the loy neder, bein noki neder, bein nechasa, bein nechasayon, bein hu, bein yoshev. Ain't my goodness, no make a swear. Aber my answer, what should I do? Should I own the chachamim habol the poda? And you can say poda b'shvur. You have to make a shvur. Om nach b'shvur halacha kiben ima Miriam. And this version that Nachman just said, in the name of Shmuel, the halacha is like this brisa. Okay, next Mishnah. Ha-poigemes ksuvasa. Poigemic doesn't mean she I guess she finds a fault in the ksuva. The ksuva says $200, and she says he paid me already. He gave me an advance of $50, so therefore there's still an outstanding balance of $150. So ha-poigemes ksuvasa. If someone is paying the ksuva, loy tivhara ela b'shvu. Now, if she wants to collect, she has to swear. Now, it sounds a little like Maida mixes, that she's Maida that part was paid and part wasn't paid. And she has to swear that she didn't get paid at all, and then she can collect the entire amount. And we'll explain tomorrow why. What happens? The Mishnah will soon explain each of these cases. If a single witness says that this ksuva was already paid out, then if she claims it wasn't, she needs to swear and to get paid out. Like the what the third case is, what about Menichse Yisayim? She's coming to collect from the Nechasim of Yisayim. Or she wants to collect her ksuva from fields that were unsold to a buyer. Where the husband is overseas, is not around, and she needs to collect the money for her ksuva to sustain herself. Like the pot in all these three cases, she has to swear. Now the Mishnah will explain each case. What's the case? The ksuva is worth $1,000, and he said to her, "His kabal took ksuva, I paid you out." You gave me only an advance of $100. That's it. If she wants to collect the balance of $100, she needs to swear. But if she does swear, she will get paid. Next case. A single witness says that this ksuva was paid out. Kate said, $1,000 was $1,000. And the husband says, you got paid. I did not. And there's a single lady that says, yes, you were paid out. She will not get paid. But if she makes a shvur, because that's what an eid echad does. An eid echad makes you swear. She swears, she collects. Last case, what's the case there? What happens if mochar? Had no assets left, so she couldn't collect the ksuva from his assets, and it's all unsold. She's going out to these purchasers, buyers to collect. She has to swear. In the other case, he gave her the assets of a yosem. Kate said, the husband died. They divorced, and then he died. Or he just died, and the chassid now by the yisaimim. Now she wants to get paid out from the yisaimim. What's the case of shalei b'fanav? Kate said, what's that case? The husband traveled overseas. And she wants to get paid out the ksuva, even though he's not present. She needs to swear in order to get paid out. Rav Shimon says the following. Rav Shimon said, and the Gemara later on will try to explain what exactly means. So in the last few cases of the Mishnah, for example, the purchasers, they don't have to say swear to us. In the first few cases, we say you have to say swear. In the last cases, we have an expression. The Gemara will have another place. We argue on behalf of the purchaser that you need to swear in order for them. So we're protecting the purchasers. They're innocent. They're a third party altogether, so we protect them. And the same thing is the case of Yisayim. We act on behalf of the Yisayim, saying the person not around. He can't produce any evidence. He didn't pay, so therefore we're the ones to say swear. Now Shimon says the following expression, and the Gemara later on will try to tease out what exactly Shimon is saying. As if she demands a ksuva, she can make a swear. If she doesn't claim a ksuva, the yosh cannot make a swear. What's going on over here? We'll see later on. So the Gemara, first of all,
where we say that's only in different moments, isn't it? And everything else we say al pishnei ma'id miyakum.
Yeah, we're talking about different moments. It's all
no, but I'm saying that the whole concept of eid echad is only, it's restricted to different moments, isn't it?
Eid echad is b'yisurim, and shavua is only by dinner moments. Yes.
Right. Okay. So
in fact, we had a Gemara before that if an eid echad comes along and sees someone commit murder, and he comes to court, they would give him malchus. Because since you're achieving nothing, all you did was you you're exactly okay. You slandered a person. Says the Gemara. So now this is what Brian was asking. Sava Rami B'Chama, Rav B'Chama's of opinion, Lemema to say that Shvur Da'araisa, that what kind of Shvur this woman, this is like Maidim Mixes. You know, that what do you call it? The husband saying, the Kesuvos was $200. She's asking, the husband says, "Oh, you're nothing," and she's saying, "No, you owe me something. You owe me $150 still." So that's like Maidim Mixes. True, I got paid 50, but you still owe me 150. That's a Shvur in the Torah. And the Qatar Messiah, you become Maidim Meir. For example, that the Kesuvos says 200, the husband says, I owe you nothing. I don't owe you anything. And she says, not the 200, you were paid out. And she says, no, you still owe me 100. And I only got paid out 100. How about it makes a title? You should have to swear. And what's the difference if it's in the Torah Rabbanan? Rashi here says the difference is whether if the person who has to swear turns to the other person and says, you know what, I don't mind if you swear and you can collect the money. That if it's a thing in the Torah, if it's a shvur deraisa, you cannot transfer it to somebody else. It's a shvur derabbanan on your own, on a voluntary basis. If it's a shvur derabbanan, you could transfer according to one opinion. Later on, Rashi gives another interesting difference. That if it's a shvur in the Torah, you would go to a bezdin, you would hold on a sefer Torah, and they give you all kinds of warnings. It's really, really serious stuff. On the other hand, and use the Abish's name in your shvur. When it's only a shvur derabbanan, you don't hold on a sefer Torah, you don't use Hashem's name. That's what Rashi says. Taisa already asked Rashi himself in other places says that by the Rabbanan as well, you carry, you can carry a Sefer Torah or holy object or something. So, but that's what Rashi says over here. Whether you voluntarily can transfer the shvur to somebody else. Says Gemara, Amar Rav says he's totally wrong. I'll just prove you 2 ways. Chada, first of all, every shvur in the Torah is to exempt you, exonerate you from paying. That's what a shvur is, to exonerate you. Here, what does the shvur achieve? That she will get paid, that she swears and she collects. There's no precedent in the Torah of a shvur where you swear and you collect. All the shvuras in the Torah are you swear and therefore I don't have to pay you. The Eid Echad says you have to pay $100 and I swear I don't owe $100 on pater. So therefore it can't be, and Moed makes the same thing. You're asking me for $100, I'm moeded to $50, not another 50. I swear and I pay you the $50. I don't, and I'm exempt and I'm exonerated from paying you the 50 that I'm denying. By swearing, I don't have to pay you the 50 that I'm denying. So what does the shvur achieve?
So when you say moida mixed shvur, who has to say the shvur there? The person who's being moida or the person who's not?
No, the person is being moida. The person who's moida has to swear. The fact that you moida is a part of it gives credence to what the guy is saying. And if you remember the Gemara, we had before in the Ches, in Kesuvos, or we'll have Bab Metzia in the beginning, that the reason why we trust you with the shvur is because we believe you really want to pay the whole amount. You just don't have. So you're trying to delay as much as possible. So we make you swear to force you to pay. And if you swear, if you're prepared to swear, what happens is you don't have to pay the $50 you're denying. So what is the shvur? The $50 I'm admitting I have to pay. So what am I accomplishing by swearing? That the $50 that I'm denying, I don't have to pay.
So to be clear, when we use that category, the person has to make the shvur is not the person who's claiming.
It's the defendant. It's the defendant.
Always the defendant. Right. Okay.
So the chada they swear and they're exonerated. Here she swears and she takes. Obviously, it's not that. But number one, number two, number two is we do not swear when it involves properties. And since the Kesuvah relies on properties, so therefore there cannot be any shvur mahatorah regarding the Kesuvah. So it can't be. So why does she swear? You know why you swear? This is an interesting idea. The paradigm, the one who actually pays the loan, it counts in every single cent, make sure they pay whatever about to pay. The mifra, the one who's receiving the money, sometimes the dyke is not as particular, is not as careful. So if the husband says, I paid you out the whole amount, she says, I only receive part of it, we tend to believe the husband more than her because he's the one who's paying it out. And when you're giving up money, is much more difficult than collecting money. And therefore, when you're giving out money, you count the bills to make sure that you more, I guess, than the person who receives it. So that's why we make her swear, so she should be more careful in the future and make sure that she counts correctly. The Rambam about a shul, the table. So therefore, we made a shul, then also should be more careful. You both have a few questions. What happens? What happened? She says, you gave me in advance, and there were witnesses standing there when you gave me in advance. So now the question is, does she have to swear that that's all that happened, and you stole me the rest of the money or not? What's the question? Mao. Do we say, if it's true that the husband is claiming that he paid her on another occasion the rest of the money, we were the witnesses. The Ela probably see right from his behavior that when he does it, is always witnesses there. So if he paid her a second time, the balance, where are those witnesses? So that gives credibility to her argument. Or perhaps who said that he actually organized the witnesses? Maybe they just happened by chance to be standing there. So therefore, it could be the next time he paid her without any witnesses. And we can trust her with the shua. Toshma coming here. It says in the Bryce as follows. All the people swear the Torah, Nishbayin, they swear, well, the Mishalman, they're exonerated for paying. The Ela, with the following exceptions, Nishbayin, they swear, but they actually take. Who are they? Hasochi, let's say an employee, if an employee says to the employer, pay me, the employee says, I paid you already. We trust the employee and we ask the employee to swear and he collects. The next one is a nigzul. If you see somebody walking into somebody's house and then we see him walking out with something bulging from his pocket, but and we say that he stole and he said, no, I didn't take anything at all, but we don't know what he took. So then we make the gazel swear, the nigzul swear that this is what was taken and the nigzul collects. If somebody went into somebody's house and then he came out all black and blue and he said, I was beaten up in this house, and we saw when he went in, he wasn't again. So therefore that person, the accused, has to what do you call it? The victim swears and collects. If the person who has to swear, for example, is not trustworthy, he's a known notorious liar, established ganiv, so then the other party swears and collects. The chenvoni al pinkasei. What happens if we have a storekeeper that has a credit, credit line for people, and he tells me, and this person tells me, when Yankel comes in, I want you to give him this and this, and he did, and he says, I gave it to them and not give me my money, and Yankel said, I never received anything from the store, so therefore, I still want it. So the balabas has to reimburse the storekeeper because he trusted him, and has to reimburse also the employee. They both swear, but they both have to swear and they collect. And if somebody, let's say, decreases the value of the amount owing on a star, like the case of Kesuvos, if there were no edim there, so then they swear because we have a star, so that says you owe the money, but admits that part of the star is flawed because it says $200, only $150. So she makes a shvua and she collects. So it seems to me, only the no witnesses she can collect. But the witnesses that when she got $50, the witnesses then the law doesn't collect anymore because we're assuming that doesn't need to make a shvu anymore, because if you would have paid her a second time, you would have had witnesses again. In fact, you didn't have any witnesses that proves that you didn't pay her again. So it proves nothing. On the contrary, this is what the Bryce is saying. There were witnesses that say that they saw him pay over, let's say, $50. Surely she's a because the only reason maybe that she's saying $50, not more, is because the witnesses are limited. They only saw 50. If they wouldn't be there, she would have claimed that you paid me nothing. So therefore, there's no credibility whatsoever. So surely she has to swear on the balance. But the chiddush here is, if there were no witnesses at all, she could have said, here's my ksuva, here's the contract, you owe me $200, pay me out. But the fact that she admitted that you already gave me an advance of $50, she's such an honest woman. She's called a Meishiv Aveda. It's like a lost item. There's no proof whatsoever to corroborate the husband's claim. So she could have gotten away with it. He got the full amount. So therefore, we would have thought, just trust her. Why swear? That still you need a shua.
Why would that not be a migoy?
Sorry?
Why would you not have a migoy then?
As we said before, because we don't think that she's so exact in her counting, and therefore she has to swear about the amount. We think that she only got paid 50, the husband paid the whole amount. We're saying that the pereya is more particular than the nifra, and that's why she has to swear. So next time she'll be more medayik.
But she got the migoy because she can make a bigger lie. She can make a better lie.
But a migu does not work if we think that the migu is that the migu says that she's definitely telling the truth. We say definitely she believes she's telling the truth. but we don't know whether she actually counts as well as the husband who does the paying out. We believe that people pay out are more careful with their money than people receiving it and the beneficiary. So therefore, all the Migga says is that they really believe what they're saying. But if we can say that what she is saying is mistaken, then what does the Migga help? It's an honest mistake. Another question. What about Hapagemis? She says that he gave me it in advance, but she has a paper she wrote down today, gave me half a pruta, and on Tuesday he gave me a quarter of a pruta, and she has every single thing itemized. Obviously, seems that she was very particular, and she has everything very organized. Mao, we say, she's so careful, Kushka, I'm definitely saying the truth, therefore there's no point in swearing. Ideally, maybe this is just tricky. She made up all these numbers there to make it look credible. Take we're not sure. Another question. What happens instead of saying you gave me advance, she said, we wrote on the star a certain amount, but actually we agreed between ourselves that you're only going to have to pay me half of that. So does she have to, and he said, I paid you out all, and he said, you paid me nothing, but all you owe me is half what it says in the star, because that's what we agreed. What happens then when she reduces the amount that he actually owes her, not because he paid her out, but because the Chatzila made up, even though the star says, as we'll still say, $1,000, we made up, you only give me 100. Do we say, Hainu Pagemis? Do we say that's the same thing as Pagemis, and she has to swear on the balance? I deal with Pagemis, Pagemis, at least, is Moida that he paid me out something. He should not mean to anything. Tashma coming in. It says in the Braisa, if you reduce the amount in the Kesuva, if she gets paid without swearing. Ketzad, what do you mean? The Kesuva was worth $1,000. He said to her, he said to her, you're ready? I paid you out. He met us, you paid me nothing. But the truth of the matter is, even though it says 1,000, we agreed that you'll only give me 100. Nifras shaloi b'shvur. The din is that she gets paid and she doesn't have to swear at all. Says the Gemara, if the star says 1,000 and she says that really it's only 100, so she basically disqualified the star. It's b'mai gavya. What basis is she collecting the money by Haishtada with this contract? Or by Haishtada chashpa ba'alma. This star now is a piece of clay. She's saying that whatever's written on there is meaningless. So Rabba's son Rabba said, by Medes, she said, she's not saying the star is disqualified. She's saying the star was written correctly. They give me $1,000, but then we trust each other so much. I agreed, it'll only give me 100. Now, I mean, it sounds like she's a very honest person. On the other hand, she could be a very conniving person, and she came up with a good story. And that's why we make her swear the balance. Then the Mishnah said, that she put one aid said that it was fully paid. She has to swear, she collects. So, but again, the I said, thought that this shvur was from the Torah, because an aid echad makes you swear from the Torah. See what it says, that an aid echad is not good enough for or that. He cannot represent or give aids for a sinner or a chatas. But yes, for a shvur. And we learned, wherever two witnesses are mechayiv money, then one witness is mechayiv you a shvur. There's two ways of understanding that. One way of understanding it is that one witness, because the law is if one witness makes you swear, and if you don't swear, you have to pay. So there's two ways of understanding that. One way is that one witness also can make you pay, just like two witnesses. The only difference is by two witnesses, the only way to pay is with cash. But by one witness, the Torah gave you an option. Either you pay cash or swear that you don't owe the money, and that's payment. The other way of learning is that a single witness has absolutely no capacity to make you pay money. But if you don't swear, then the Torah comes in and says, in that case, we're going to penalize you and make you pay that money. So it's not the aid that's making you pay, it's the Torah that steps in and says pay. Anyway, so he thinks that the reason why the woman has to swear is because an aid echad. I'm going to say two, but I have two answers. First of all, the whole hanish boim, we already said before. Every time you swear in the Torah, nish boim l'mashaman. What's the purpose of the shvur? To exonerate you from paying. The he nish bas and tells here she's swearing and she is taking. Number one. Number two, you don't swear when it comes to denying land. And when it comes to ksuba, it relies on his assets. In fact, we learned before the metaltlin are not meshubah to ksuba, only the only real estate, and therefore you cannot swear on real estate. And Rambam Chama thought that an eid echad might be different than a Meidim Mitzvah's case, and an eid echad maybe you do swear, and so on. There's a famous cases in the beginning of Metzi asked the question. So how can you, if you cannot swear on karka, how can you ever swear on a loan? Every loan is relying on karka. Every loan is karka tagged to it. So every loan is, if you're made of a mixer, you shouldn't have to swear because Einish boy not Kvidish Merkais. So what's going on? And Taisus actually concludes with it. This is in the beginning of Metzia, that the only time made of mixes Yechayev is if you clearly made up when you lent the money that there won't be any lien on any property, or the person is so destitute had zero properties. So then all we're arguing about is cash, if I owe you the money or not. But if there were any properties involved, says Taisus, there's never made them mixes. So suddenly he took a law and he limited it to such a rare case. Anyway, Ella whatever. So Rabbi said, why does she swear to balance? It's only with the Rabbanon. In order to appease the husband, he feels terrible. He's arguing that, that I paid you and I have a single witness here that I paid you, and just ignoring me and the witness. So just to calm the husband down, to not stacked against him. So we say to her, okay, you swear that you're saying the truth. If this husband wants to be smart and he wants to make her swear from the Torah, and what's the difference? The difference is that she'll be scared. People might not be so scared to swear false if it's only the Rabbanon. But if it's a Torah using Hashem's name, you're invoking Hashem's name, and you're holding a Sefer Torah in your hand, then most people are not prepared to swear falsely. So if the husband is smart and he believes he paid her out to Ksuva, and he wants her to swear from the Torah, this way he thinks she'll walk away. This is what he should do. You want to bring it to Shua the Torah? Give her a second Ksuva. Okay, she produces a star and says that you owe me $200. He believes he paid the whole thing out, and he has a single witness who said that. So he says, okay, you're right. Here, I'm going to give you another $200. And he brings another witness to see him giving this $200. Then the samich sadek kama sadaba. So now suddenly you combine the two witnesses, the one from the beginning, one from the end. So now you have two witnesses saying that you received two amounts, and so ksuva, and you're only entitled to one ksuva. So one of them must be a ksuva, and the first one must have been, it was a loan that I gave you, pay me back. And then she'll of course deny that. She'll say it wasn't a loan, it was a ksuva. So, but I turned the first aid from paying you a ksuva, I turned him in now to a loan, and because I already paid you out the second, you don't pay two ksuvas. So you agree, I paid you now a ksuva. So the first amount that I gave you, that eid echad is saying was a loan, and an eid echad makes it swear mahatayra that you don't have the loan. That's how you get her to swear mahatayra. And therefore, the first amount that I gave you, based on that first aid, is a loan, and now you have to swear that you didn't get the loan. And this way, he hopes that she will walk away. How can you combine the two witnesses? They did not see the same thing. And therefore, even if she denies both of them, all you have is one against one. All she does is, in fact, you lose money on it, because she'll deny the first aid and swear. She'll deny that, and only midrabban, because each one you can't put the two together, because it's not two witnesses, because they didn't see the same event. So the first witness saw one event, and it was a ksuva, and a ksuva, we said before, is shiva kakois, and it's not my sodom midrabban. The second one's again a ksuva, and you're going to have to pay out a third one maybe. So what did you gain? Doesn't work. However, I have a better idea. It says, call the first witness and now bring another witness in. So you have two witnesses who saw you give her a ksuva now. So you definitely have two witnesses who saw give her a second ksuva. But you have one witness, the same witness who gave the second one, said, oh, but I remember there was money transferred before. That money obviously is not a ksuva, because they don't give two ksuvas. That money must have been a loan. So the husband lent you money. I saw it. So she'll have to swear that she didn't. And in this case, you can do that, because there were two witnesses, including the first one, who saw the second ksuva that you gave her. Kama beside the basa, bring in front of the first and second witness. Must be that the first one was a loan. Master Ravashi said, I can't remember the Kesuv. Why can't you say that there were two Kesuvos? Why did they wrote two Kesuvos? How was that two Kesuvos? Maybe they were married, divorced. There was one Kesuva, and then what do you call it? And that's what she was paid out, and then got married again. When we learned before that if you marry again, then the second marriage is a continuation of the first one. You rely on the first Kesuva. But if the first Kesuva was paid out, then you don't do that. So or say, but she says she didn't get paid. So you can say that for some strange reason, the husband decides to give her two Kesuvos. He can do whatever he wants, which is a very rare case, but that's what happened. She can say that. So therefore, if they're both Kesuvos, then the shvu is only midrabanan. You don't achieve anything. In fact, you'll have to pay her a third time. She'll swear, and you'll pay a third time. Ela Ravashi, who the Maidalahu. Ravashi says is talking about over here that he tells both witnesses what his scheme is, what he's doing, and before he collects the second money from before he pays out the second time to his wife, he tells her that you should know that I already paid a ksuva back then with the first witness here, and she denied it. And I'm paying her a second time for a ksuva so I can have two. He's telling her up front what's going on here. I have two witnesses here, and I'm going to then demand from the first one, and I have a single witness, and therefore it must be alone, and I'm chayav ashur d'raisa. And since now the first witness and the second witness now know that the second thing is a ksuva, then they cannot say anymore that there were two ksuvas, because to come along and say two ksuvas is very, very rare. So therefore, in this case, is the only way we can make it a shur d'raisa, turn the first one into a loan, and that's how we can corner her. This ends this part of the sugya. We'll pause for a minute.